I showed up to the Boulder Ironman on June 10th, 2018, ready to swim 2.4 miles, ready to bike 112 miles, and ready to run 26.2 miles, all within 17 hours. What I wasn't ready for were all the things that were about to go wrong with my day. But I had a lot of help from people that were there for me that day, and I'm going to tell you about that. But I just want you to know that this journey was not a journey alone. It was a journey with a team, and I could not have gotten through it without those people. I was born with 10 fingers and 10 toes. Obviously, I've lost a couple along the way, but it has never slowed me down. I grew up playing sports, riding horses, being very active. But I remember being at my Aunt Linda's house and seeing a poster of an Ironman competition on her wall. And I looked at that poster and I saw those distances that I just told you about, and I said, even though I'm an active girl, there is no way that I could ever be as badass as my Aunt Linda doing that race. I went through a period of my life in my 20s when I wasn't very active. The most exercise I got was waiting tables at Red Lobster, which during Endless Shrimp is actually a lot of exercise, for the record. So that dream that I had had was obviously something that had gone dormant for that period of my life. I moved to Denver in 2013. My friend Jessica convinced me to walk a local race with her, and I did. And while we were walking, I saw the runners, and I wanted to be them. I wanted to be a runner. With my husband's help, he happens to make legs for a living. How convenient is that? With his help, I got a running-specific prosthesis so that I could start running. I had been casually biking, so I started biking a little bit more. I started swimming. I had swam as a child, but only casually, never on a team. And I put those all together, and I did my first triathlon. It was a short distance triathlon. It took me under 2 hours. But I quickly realized that that dream that I had had, that thought about my Aunt Linda, maybe it wasn't impossible. I engaged a coach, Mark Sortino, to help me in my triathlon journey. We worked together for a few years, and he helped me get to some different personal records and doing some longer distance races. I did 2 half Ironmans, which is half the distance that I talked about at the beginning, and ultimately felt like I was ready to take that leap and believe in myself and tackle the Ironman. 5 years after I started running, Coach Mark helped get me to that point. I showed up to the race. I was super excited. My friend Sasha was my leg handler for the day. When I asked her to be my handler, to commit her whole day to helping me, she acted like I was doing her a favor. She was doing me a favor, but she acted as if I was doing her the favor because she was so excited to be part of the journey and to be helping me through that journey that she was ecstatic. She used to race Ironmans, so this was a way for her to get back into it, carrying my legs around all day. The gun went off. I started the swim. The swim went great. I held back so that I would have enough energy for the rest of the day ahead of me. I came out of the water ahead of plan. Sasha helped me get out of the water. I swim without a leg, so she helps me get to my leg, get my leg on, get to my bike. I got on my bike. Everything was going beautifully. It was a beautiful morning. I could tell it was going to get hot. It wasn't hot yet, though, and everything was going to go perfectly. This was my day. I'm on the bike. Everything was going perfectly until mile 24, when my bike decided it was no longer going to shift gears. For anyone who's ridden a bike with gears, that's a big deal. The gear I was stuck in was one that would be ideal for a slight downhill, maybe flat. Has anyone been to Boulder? Is it flat? So at mile 24, I had a choice. And I asked myself, Emily, are you going to quit now just because you can't shift gears and it's going to be really hard to ride 88 more miles? Or are you gonna do what your friend Nicole DeBoom says and make it work? And I decided then and there, I was gonna make it work. It took a lot of positive self-talk to keep me going. Emily, you are a badass. Emily, you can do this. A lot of negative talk towards my bike. You are not gonna ruin my day, bike. But I got halfway through the bike, so I was at mile 56. And I saw Sasha, Coach Mark, and my friend Becky on the sidelines, and I waved them over. They're telling me I'm doing great, keep going, and I'm in tears. I can't do this anymore. I cannot ride another 56 miles without being able to change gears, just being fueled on my strength and energy alone. I need you to tell me that I can do it. So Coach Mark yelled at me. He said, Emily, you can do it. Think about those 6-hour trainer rides you did this winter. You can do this. I found out later he wasn't sure if I could do it. But he told me what I needed to hear. So using that energy, I powered through another 56 miles. At this point, it was in the high 90s. People were pulled over under trees. I drank so much Gatorade, I still can't drink Gatorade. But it kept me fueled, it kept me hydrated. And I got through the bike. Took me longer than expected, took me more energy than expected, but I did it. I then went to the transition station and found Sasha, and she was gonna help me switch into my running gear, including my running leg. My running leg has a shoe sole on the bottom of it, so I don't wear a left shoe when I run. But I wanted to start walking because the day had been so rough, so I wanted to walk a couple miles before I started to run. I put on my walking leg, I put on my right shoe, I realized I didn't have a left shoe. Sasha, who had been carrying my legs around all day and taking pictures with them, realized that we wore the same shoe size. So she, without even hesitating, pulls her shoes off her feet, gives them to me to wear, and puts her water shoes on so that she can walk 2 miles with me in her water shoes. Without Sasha, I probably would have just panicked and I don't even know what I would have done. But Sasha was there for me. She gave me her shoes off her feet, and we set off on the run together at a walking pace. Sasha stuck with me for a while. I eventually switched over to my running leg and my own right shoe, gave her her shoes back, and the day had gotten hotter. I was really feeling like, can I do this? I don't know. I already fought through that bike ride, but can I really get through this run? And then this guy, Steve, and I started leapfrogging, passing each other. We eventually started running together, side by side, not even talking. We eventually started talking about what tree or trash can we were going to run to before we took another walk break, but that was pretty much the extent of my conversation with Steve. Steve and I, together, got to the last mile of the race. In that moment, we were almost there. We were in like the final 2 turns. My coach comes flying around the corner from the other direction. Emily, you are not going to make it. You have to sprint. Leave him. Leave Steve. Leave him. Steve had more time to finish the race than I did because he started later, so don't worry about Steve. Leave Steve. I was like, what? I've been out here 17 hours. You think I can sprint right now? But I took Coach Mark's energy, and I did sprint. And I got around the next corner. There's Coach Mark again. I hear, Emily, you have 15 seconds! I'm still from here to the back of the room, from the end. Turns out he said I had 1 minute and 15 seconds. Missed the minute part. Yeah. So I sprint. My plan when I started this race was to have a party at the finish line, get a personal record in high fives. High five everybody. Get great pictures. I'm great at getting finish line race photos. I do this like classic double thumbs up thing. It's not what happened for this race. I don't know if it's good. Oh, yep, there it is. There is my finish line photo, ladies and gentlemen. So, that is possibly the worst photo of me you'll ever see, and I am now broadcasting it to all of you. But because of the people that helped me get to where I was, the people who helped me that day, everyone around me that supported me, I was able to use their energy and their actual giving their shoes off their feet to me to be able to accomplish that goal that I never thought was possible when I first saw my Aunt Linda's posters, and I now get to call myself an Iron Woman. So what I want to leave you all with is a challenge for you to think about how you perceive help. Not just how you perceive asking for help, but how do you perceive giving it? How do you feel when someone else asks you for help? Why not be that person that asks for the help? And then you're opening up that vulnerability and that ability to ask each other for help. And then maybe you can even achieve dreams that you believe are impossible for you. Thank you.